Hey. I was just sitting here actually waiting for my daughter to finish a birthday celebration, a belated birthday celebration for her. And I remember thinking when I was going through my tough time, one of my toughest times ever, a few years ago. Should have pulled my hair down today. And I was thinking about how at the time my thoughts were about how do I integrate myself back into life, and how do I put myself back into a social scene or a I guess a life and a scene altogether where I was seen. And I felt like I could contribute, because at that time I wasn't feeling like I could actually be integrated into, I guess, my own life, let alone anybody else's lives, going out and being social. And I totally, when I left the situation, which was, it was a good thing that I left it, but then I felt like I was just so alone, and so many people judged me for changing the locks on my home. I'd like to see them try and do that. But I found myself with not wanting to be a part of anything, because I didn't feel like anything from inside, and from inside me, and my self-worth took a dip, and everything took a dive. So it was just interesting. I was just looking at all the people in the park here now, and just thinking about their lives and how they all integrate with each other, and as families. There was some people sitting over there with a bunch of babies, and there's a bunch of girls over there. There's a couple over there with a dog. There's people kicking a ball around. There's some more dogs over there. Lots of young families and kids. And then I remember when I did what I did all those years ago, my kids were 9 and 6 or something like that. And at that time, it was interesting. My thoughts were more about, I just can't do this and live the life that I was leading. It was revolting. And I thought of my kids' lives, I thought of my life, but I didn't think of much else. I just knew that I had to survive, and I knew that I had to get out of where I was living, and that person wouldn't leave. So I had two options, was to ask to leave. So I did that option, and that wouldn't happen. Wasn't going to happen. It didn't happen. And then the other option, because by this stage I had hired a lawyer, and the other option was to change the locks on my home. And that was pretty drastic, because once that did happen and that person came home to a locked home and was never allowed in that house again, the police came around and tried to force their way in there. And then I had my lawyer on the phone at the same time, and then the cops were out the door trying to force their way in, and I said there's no way, because my lawyer was going, no, don't let that person in again, blah blah blah, don't even let the police in. So once I got through that horrific and sometimes it seems like it was only yesterday, but it was 11 years ago now, and boy have I grown from there. But it was, once I had done the deed and changed the locks, and life changed forever, and I never looked back, I then had to slowly integrate myself back into life. And it wasn't an overnight step. It was quite a long process, because I felt like I had to gather a whole lot of new friendships and people around me that I trusted, that could support me. And I'm the kind of person who likes to support other people as well. So it was a real juggling act as to how I was going to put myself back into the world, and because my other world had come smashing down, and most of my friends in this friendship group that we had, they tossed me out because they apparently, you know, the people who played on the friendship group team, regardless of divorces or people separating, the rules were set. I didn't know there had to be rules in friendship groups, that we all had to still play, but this was a bit difficult because I had just changed the locks on somebody and I was about to get an intervention order on that person as well. So it was all a bit fuzzy and very judgmental from those people. I'm not friends with any of them anymore. I tried, but I just couldn't do it. It was a bit hard when you had a 25-metre rule put on somebody that they can't come near you, and it applies to you as well, so you can't go near that person. Thank goodness, I don't want to go near that person ever again. But integrating myself and finding my new happy place has, you know, taken some time to do, and that's why I decided to do what I'm doing now, is to help people integrate themselves back into a new world after they've actually, because I don't think it should take as long as perhaps the expectation we set on ourselves for it to take. But then, you know, we need time to heal, we need time to trust again, we need time to like ourselves again, we need time to ward off the things that are being said about us, be it they public defamation or via text messages or emails from, you know, unwanted people. So integrating yourself back into humanity, if I could put a broad scope on it, isn't easy at all. But what I found helpful was I lent on some people that I found through some resources, and you know, there's better resources now, and people, I guess, like can I say it, like me around, who have been through the hard yakka and the hard yards, that are out here helping other people go through what they have been through. Anyway, so if I had to put sort of maybe my top 3 steps at this stage, just on this video, would be to shut everything and everyone out to begin with, and just focus on you and what you want, and also what you don't want. I found that a really helpful tool for me to work out, first of all, what I didn't want anymore. Secondly was to, because I've always been into health and nutrition, was to make sure when I'm stressed, I'm someone who doesn't eat, so I had to make sure that I was at least putting some food into my belly, because I'd lost so much weight. And for me, that food of choice was fruit, because it was an easy thing for me to eat, to nibble on rather than have big meals. And the third thing was to, well, I was about to say write things down, but my mind was so all over the place with everything that had unfolded after changing the locks on my home, that it was just way too difficult to write things down. So I think the third thing would have to be exercise, and to make sure I went for walks. And at this stage I could only go for short walks because I had started developing some really big anxiety that going out the house was even fearful to me as well. So I spent a lot of time indoors, and not necessarily sort of flaked on the couch, but a lot of time indoors, feeling anxious and feeling judged by the rest of the world out there. So anyway, I'll be back to talk about this, but it was just something that popped up as I was sitting here waiting for my daughter to finish her lunch with her friends. It's a belated birthday lunch. So peace and love, my friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye.